There's another technique that we use as well when we're presenting to you. What do? Every session, when we finish a session, what do? What do I do?
Question and answer.
Question and answer, absolutely. I say, okay. I say, great, well done. What did you learn? What was your experience? What questions do you have? Which gives you a chance to anchor that into now and then also out into the future as well. It gives you a chance to ask a question which relates to the future or anchor what you've just experienced now in your body, in your life, which then obviously would apply to your future. That's how we do it. Question and answers are really good for that. Now, so who sees that as important for yourself? That question and answer? Yeah, absolutely. And hearing somebody else's, for us as trainers, that really embeds some of the stuff, the great work, because we see you do fantastic work. I mean, it's amazing work. And you're mostly working in pairs when we've been doing what we've been doing, so that you can share that with somebody else. It lifts somebody else up, or they haven't had an insight, and they get an insight from what you've said, or somebody sparks off because you've got a great feeling, which allows you to go into a great feeling. So the Q&A is a great way of anchoring what's been happening and then allowing people to ask questions that take that into the future. Like, how does that apply to education? How does that apply in the corporate world? How does rapport work out there in the corporate world? How does it work in the police force when they rapport with Saturday night people? How does that work? All those things allow them to take it into the future and the future pace. And questions sometimes people are asking questions, but they don't want the answer to the question that they're asking you. They're actually asking a question from somewhere else. So your job as well as the presenter is to answer the question that's behind the question. So sometimes somebody might ask a question like, well, I'm not sure how that really works. And what they're saying to you is, I'm not sure about how proficient I am with this. And they're asking a question, how does this really work? So your job is to find out what's the question behind the question and answer the question behind the question. Now to do that, of course, you've got to be in your now state. You've got to have your intuition turned on. You've got to be able to see through things, which is, the ability to have a great third eye to see beyond the presenting question, to be able to answer the question behind the question. They might be saying, am I good enough? Whatever question they're asking, they might be saying, well, am I good enough? Now your job is to answer that in a way that allows them to get the learning they need to get. Not necessarily to say, yes, you're good enough, but to get the learning behind the question, am I good enough? Make sense? The question behind the question. So let's just point that out. If we put this back, if we put questions, because I think they're so important, if we put questions back into the format system as well, if they're asking why questions, it's because they haven't seen their own motivation yet. They don't know why we're doing this. So a why question will intimate the person hasn't got the motivation yet. They don't know why they're doing it. A what question means they want more information. And a how question would be they're not sure if they can do it or not, or how do we do it. So again, if you can be aware of that format system, that when people are asking questions, they might do it in the style of how they'd like to learn about it themselves. So picking up on a how, a what, or a why question might give you a clue about what they want to have, the way that they want you to answer it. And again, it's okay to have open loops, isn't it, Lucas? Yeah. You don't always have to answer the question, because sometimes closing a loop can be a bit of a balloon going flat. They've got the answer now, and there's no more learning for them. You could actually answer a question with another question, or some way of answering them that keeps that loop open, and their own learning is continuing. Get them to go out and do some work with their mind, with the way that you answer them. Now, we haven't done that before, have we? All right, so any questions about that?